Today I will show how to add user login to the Nette application. I'm going to start with a very simple Nette application downloaded from Nette web project, and I will try to add login to it. The login is handled by a service called Authenticator in general, which is interface. Nette has an implementation of SimpleAuthenticator that allows the user and password to be added to the neon configuration file in this way. It's not exactly a recommended practice. This is more for testing purposes. So in the config directory, file common.neon, I will create a new section security with subsection users, and I will add test as username and test as password separated with colon. Now it would be a good idea to create a new application section which will be inaccessible without signing in. I will make a copy of homepage presenter, creating a new presenter, which I will name admin presenter. I will also create a new subdirectory in the templates folder, which I will name admin with capital A. Admin presenter will have two views. The first view I will name as sign in, and it will be a login page like this one here. After clicking sign in button, I want to get to some dashboard where there will just be a confirmation that I'm logged in and a link to log out. So I'm going to name it as a dashboard. I will create a template for it. So I will add signin.latte to the admin folder. Watch out for the capital letters sign in capital I. And I will put the exact same blank file as the dashboard. Now we want to make sign-in accessible to everyone, but any other view, we can have 50 views or more here. From admin presenter, we want to keep protected. There is something called presenter lifecycle. One of those methods in the lifecycle is the startup method, which is always called when processing each request almost at the beginning. So I'm guaranteed that before action sign-in, action dashboard, and any other action is processed, the code in the startup method is executed. This is the place where we will check if the user is logged in. If they are not logged in, it asks if not this get user is logged in, and if the action I'm calling is not sign in, which is the only action I can display without being logged in, then I will put a hard redirect to sign in, and then this terminate just in case something fails, so I don't proceed further. When I press Ctrl U on this form, I can see some HTML code here. This is the code for a template I purchased for this purpose. I copy all the code, and ideally, I would create a completely new layout. So in the templates folder, I will create a new file, which I will name, for example, at signin.latte, with at the beginning. That's kind of the common practice, and that at means that this is a layout. And I'll press Ctrl V. So I insert all the code, and now when I call localhost / my project's name / admin, it shows me what? It shows me a blank page. I press Ctrl U. Yes, that's right. Because I have to write in action sign in that I want to change the layout to add sign in. When I look now, it's better. I've got some links here to CSS, JavaScripts, and such. I have it in www folder with the base directory in the root directory. That means I need to switch here, and I need to put base path /www/fonts. So if I generalize, I want to override this string, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+R as a replace, and /assets/ to base path /www/. I had a typo here. Well, now I've got it all overwritten. When I look at it again, all the styles load correctly. Great. But I would like, when I look at the HTML, to have the inside of the document load in a view. Ctrl+X. Instead, we right here include content. Now we switch to the template where I have block content and I press Ctrl+V. And when I look again, nothing has changed. That's fine, that's expected. Now the form we have here is hard-coded. I would need to first create a form component. I will switch back to admin presenter and create a new method, public function, can be protected function, create component, and I will name it as sign in form, and I will return object form. I will create a new form. Add a text element called username. And a password element called password. I will add a submit button, and I will name it as send with a value of sign in. And let's add a callback to onSuccess, which will be method this sign in form success. I can give it any name. I usually name it in this way. Public function. Since I'm using callback, so it has to be public this time. Public function sign in form success. The framework will call it automatically with object form. And we will look at values and store it in the values variable. Let's try to sign the user in. I type this get user, now the login method, and let's have a look at it. It takes two inputs, user and password. So I put in the first parameter values username, the username because here I've used it name username, values password, and I'm going to catch an exception called Authentication Exception. Now we can look at the documentation. I didn't make that up. I read it in the documentation here. Let's go back and let's put here some error message in the flash message, like username or password is not correct. Now we will try to redirect the user to the dashboard. If this line succeeded and the user is logged in, the redirect will be successful. I will get to the dashboard. If the login fails, I will try to redirect them to the dashboard too, but this code will take care of putting them back to sign in. So we've got the form done and we've got the callback done. Let's try to replace this HTML of form, which is hardwired here, with the dynamic component that I just created. So there's a form macro in Latte. I've named it sign in form. The important thing is to respect the case. We have the first element here, which is called username. I'm going to copy that form from the original template, replace the label element with the label macro. They named it email, I have it as username. So I'm going to leave it like that. Definitely leave the class the same as they have. So for the form element, there's a universal macro input. Again, it has to be named username, class form control, and placeholder username. Let's go over to the page and see there's an error. Let's go back to the definition of create component sign-in form. We need to return the form object, but we are not returning it. So we'll put return form here, and that will fix it. All right, now I can see that I have the username here twice. The first one is mine, and the second one is theirs. We can delete this one too. All right, let's put the other part in there, and that's the password. Again, replacing their code with mine. Now we have the same name, so label password, class form label, input password, class form control. If we look in the template, we have got remember me and forgot your password. We can scratch that for now. That's actually this part of the HTML code. And finally, there is a submit button that I've named send. So we will type input send and keep the class the same. I'm going to try to log in now by entering some wrong password combination. If we look here, there was indeed a redirect, sign in, dashboard, and sign in again. But nothing is displayed. We store the error information in flash message variable, but we don't display it anywhere. To display it, we need to add here for each flashes as flash and display flash message and dash for each. Let's try again. I type test and some nonsense, sign in, and now we get an error message here, albeit not styled, but let's not worry about that for now. Let's try to enter the correct data. So username test, password test, sign in. So I'm logged in and redirected correctly to dashboard. However, I have a completely blank page here. I can just write login successful here in dashboard.latte and type a link to logout as well. Sign out. When I click on that, nothing happens because sign out doesn't exist. I have to create a new view, action sign out. The code will be Very simple here. This get user logout and redirect again to sign in. So let's try logging out, and I'm back to sign in. When I type nonsense and click on sign in, I get an error message. When I enter the correct information, click sign in, the login is successful. Now I can log out.